and welcome to the RDA. Welcome to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's regurgitated BS special. I'm your host Retha, and I shall analyze said regurgitated BS. And I'll start by saying I just wasted 20 minutes of my life. 20 minutes I'll never get back listening to this fraud of a manager. And you know what? I want your subscriptions, I want your views, I want your likes, so please do that. But to be honest, I wouldn't blame you if you just went to watch my Man City press conference reaction or my Liverpool press conference reaction because you get the same thing. You know, it's the same rubbish with this manager. It's the same regurgitated BS. You know, he has nothing of note to say. It's just spin. It's just him being a puppet, and I am sick of it. You know what? I'm sick of it so much that I don't care. I'm sick of it so much that I don't care. You know, it's what it is. I'm done getting worked up over this manager. So, you know what? We shall react to this today. Tomorrow, we shall watch United. You know, we shall enjoy our players score glorious goals. It's the only way we know how to win games. And we shall move on with our lives because there's no point investing time and love into this club because the owners just don't care. You know what? So it is what it is, you know? And yeah, let's not be depressing. Let's move on. And the best question, in my opinion, is the one I'm gonna talk about first. The best question would read, "What's gone wrong so far, and how are you fixing it?" You know, that's what all I'm gonna be asked. You know, what's gone wrong, and how are you fixing it? And I thought this was a good question. Probably there's no better question beyond this. You know, because the press conference is always pretty shite. But you get asked this, and to be honest, the answer would not fit the question because the answer, in true Ole Gunnar Solskjaer style, was rubbish. You know, it was rubbish. But he'd have this to say. He'd say, "We've been through periods like this before. Our away form, we've gone 30 odd games and lost one. Last season, we turned it around and won 20 odd games and lost one. That's the kind of run we need to get back on. This week, we've prioritized a few things we have to improve on. Form and performances have not been good enough." And once again, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has said nothing. What is the question? What has gone wrong and how are you fixing it? And you know what? He said nothing. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer basically said this. They were like, "Ole, what's wrong?" They're like, "Oh, you know what? It's wrong, you know what? And it's so wrong, and we know it's wrong, and we're working to fix it, and we're gonna fix it." And yeah, that's my answer. But he's given us absolutely nothing, and he always does this, you know? He always evades the question. And look, I always say a manager can't really divulge everything, you know? They can't divulge their tactics. But I think with Ole, we've gone to a point where, dude, divulge your tactics because, you know what? Where do we go from here? You know, you might as well tell us what you're doing. You might as well give us an ounce of something, you know, to cling on because it's just such rubbish, you know. Like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to say anymore. I don't know what to say with this puppet of a manager. He comes into the press conference and absolutely wastes our time talking absolute rubbish, you know. No substance to his questions whatsoever. But yeah, you know, he'd go on to say his favorite line. Or he wouldn't say the line exactly, but he would imply it. He would say, "We're human beings. Sometimes you hit the post and it goes out. Sometimes it goes in. You know, that affects the mood, the atmosphere. We've got to focus on getting the start right, aka fine margins." He loves fine margins. His favorite line, fine margins. Oh, it's fine margins. And you know what? It's becoming clear to me. You know, there's a lack of standard when it comes to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He lacks the standards to be Manchester United manager. He doesn't understand that as Manchester United manager, you can't say things like that, you know? The standard, you have to represent the standard of the club. The standards up here, and you can't be whining about fine margins week in, week out, you know? And we know there's fine margins in football, but your job is to make those margins better in our favor, to move the margins in our favor, you know what? To give us a better fighting chance. And you can't keep whining about fine margins week in, week out. We don't care it's fine margins. We implore you to move it in our favor a bit more. We implore you to improve the tactics, you know. And yeah, it is what it is with Ole. They would go on to ask him about his job security. They'd ask him, "Do you feel safe in your job, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer?" And he'd say, "Yeah, the players, the staff, myself, the club, we are working to go to one goal to improve, get better results. Fans are still supporting the club and the team. They've been through this period. They've backed the team through the rebuild. When you lose a game, you're always disappointed and under pressure. We've been communicating clearly. We've been communicating openly and honestly. And you know what? If I had 100 rand for every time Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said we've been communicating openly and honestly, I would be a very rich man." He loves saying this. We've been communicating. Me board have been communicating openly and honestly. It's such rubbish. Because if there was an ounce of honesty in your communication, at least one of you would have talked about how rubbish everything is. At least one of you would have talked about how crap Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tactics are. But there's no honesty. You just walk in there and what was like, don't worry, Ole, we're not gonna fire you. And you're like, oh, thank you, Woody. I'm working hard, at fine margins. That's the conversation I imagine Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would having. Because I can't imagine anything with substance, because if there was anything of substance, we would see it in the results. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer coming, and once again, regarding to the rubbish, how many times have you heard openly and honestly? How many times have you heard he's been bagged by the club and he feels safe? When we all know he doesn't feel safe. He doesn't feel safe. Yes, that's not something a manager will say. He won't come and be like, I'm not feeling safe. I understand that. And I also wouldn't say that, But you know what? It just adds to the whole lack of honesty, lack of transparency when it comes to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And it's annoying as fans. It's annoying because it just shows that he doesn't care about us. One, he doesn't play for us. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer never played for us. He plays for his job, he plays for his favourites, and he plays for this board. He is firmly lasers in, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I'm not having it any other way. He's lasers in. And yeah, you know what? He'd go on about how they've had a good week of training and we need to focus on the next game. Once again, we've heard it every week, We go again, we go again, we go again. How do you go again, You can't just keep saying we go again and keep losing and saying we go again, Like, something must change, Something has to give. And nothing ever gives with this club. Nothing ever gives with the manager because they're all comfortable. It's just how it is at the moment. And yeah, and then the next question would be about the break and how difficult it is to have to break in such a period. Is it an inconvenience? And all I would say, you're right. Sometimes the first thing you want to do is get back on the training ground and work on things. When we left for this international break, it was a good time for us to refresh. It was a good time for us to refresh their minds. And yeah, look, I supported this guy about this international break. I was like, maybe, I wasn't really supporting him. I was just trying to speak what I think the situation is, And I was like, maybe it was a mandated break. He was told by the club that he has to go on this break while they sort things out, while, the pressure dials down. And clearly, no. Clearly, he backed this break. Clearly, he wanted it. And you know what? It might well be that it is mandated, but he's just saying this. But at the end of the day, you know what, Ole? You have the ability, you have the freedom to go in the press conference and say, you know what? These mans want me to be a puppet. They tell me what to say in these press conferences, but I won't say it. Like Mourinho did. He has an option, but he doesn't do that. So when he says these type of things, we're going to take him for his word, And it's his fault. He wanted to go on this break in such a time. You know what? You can't be going on break in such a time, Like, we need to fix things. At least you and Carrick and McKenna and Phelan, you guys should be staying behind. And one, you should be firing them. But if you're not going to do that, at least telling them how crap their tactics are and working on something different. You can't go on a break when one of the worst runs we've ever had and just come back like everything's rosy. That's absolute rubbish. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has done it, and he's still in the job. Congratulations, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And yeah, the next question would be basically the same question. I talk about Ole being repetitive. These journalists are repetitive as well. They ask the same question in different ways. And it'd be about the players being refreshed and whether there's been a change of mentality going on this break. And all I would say, they haven't had a change of mentality. I think that's the wrong way to say it. They love their football, so referring to players who went away and played football for the internationals, They love winning. When we left each other 13 days ago, no one was happy when they left Old Trafford. But then there's another game. There's another game. I don't know why he said it 3 times, but he said 3 times, And yeah, you know what? Players will be happy to leave because at the end of the day, they just want to get away from you, Ole. They just want to get away from you. And I say that because, you know what? It's so toxic at United. It's so toxic for these players. And these players feel obligated not to talk against it. They feel obligated to support the team and the club and the manager. So they won't say anything against this regime, So I can imagine it puts them in a difficult position. So when internationals come, they must be thrilled to go away, and have a change of scenery and play with competent managers and play with competent players, Be in a scenario where people actually want to win football games and are doing the appropriate stuff to win those football games. So I can imagine players are happy to leave, And he went on to say, they've come back. It's been a very determined and focused group. We've worked on a few things and hopefully we start seeing that against Watford. And I believe that, honestly. I think these players are so professional, honestly. And more specifically, our talismans. Not Pogba, Bruno, Ronaldo. I'm not saying Pogba isn't professional, he is, but he's just injured. Bruno, Ronaldo, I think they're very professional. And no matter what happens, they will not point fingers, you know? And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, you can decide, but they won't point fingers. What they'll do, they'll always keep working on it, they'll focus on themselves, and they try to get the best for the team. And what that's going to do is going to keep on in a job because they're going to beat a Watford. They're going to lose to Chelsea because against Chelsea, the players are just as good as ours. So you need something more. You need a good tactician. You need a good manager, to edge it in our favor. So we'll lose those games. Then we'll go beat an Arsenal, maybe not even. But we'll go beat a Norwich, some inferior team, but we'll lose to a competent team, And that won't be good enough for us. That won't be the standards of Manchester United. That won't be the standards Fergie has taught us, but it will keep on in a job. And I don't know how I feel about it. It's similar to how we fans feel like, should we back us losing, so are they going to get fired? Or should we always want to win because that's the way, that's the United way? Once again, it's the same as, should we protest, the club, and I don't know, ban the stadium and do things like that in the name of long-term success, in the name of getting out the Glazers long-term, but short-term suffering, Should we do that? Or should we always support the club, even though the snake's running at the top, but because it's our club, it doesn't matter. I don't know where you sit, which side of the fence you sit, but I don't know. I just, this situation just sucks. Us as fans should never be in such a situation. We should never be in such a situation. Like, the amount we care about this club should be amplified by the people running it. We shouldn't care about this club more than the people running it. Something's wrong. But that's how it is at the moment. The next question will be about team news, which at least something good. Team news, who's fit, who's not fit. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will say this. This week has been really positive. There are a couple of doubts with illness and small niggles. Paul is out for a while. Retha is out for a while. Apart from that, players will be come back in the near future. Some this weekend, some this week. But that's the same for other players, other teams. This is wrong. I remember what he said. It's the same for other teams. And yeah, you know what? Well, nothing surprising. We know Pogba's out. We know Retha's out. And those two, I just don't know how I feel right now. Paul Pogba, honestly, I can imagine a part of him is happy to be away. Not completely, because once again, I think he's professional. But a part of him must be happy to be away because at this moment in time, it's so toxic. That I can imagine he just feels like, whoa, I'm not in the mess at the moment. I'm not in that toxic place. I can just focus on recovering and becoming fit. And as I said in my last reaction or before that, this does not bode well for our hopes in keeping Paul Pogba. Like him being injured, Ole being in charge, it's just a recipe for disaster. And we're gonna see him in Paris come next year. We're gonna see him in Real Madrid, and that's a shame, but it is what it is. And this club has put themselves in a situation. They can't cry at the end of the season saying, "Oh, we lost Pogba for free," and what's wrong with Pogba? He's all about the money. No, you just did not cater and do the bare minimum for Paul Pogba. Because as a football player, he wants to win things. It's not all about the money. He wants to win things. And you have shown that you are incapable of building a team that can win things. And then Varane, what has he got himself into? Yikes. What has Varane got himself into? And I can imagine he feels like it right now. And it's a yikes that he's injured for us as fans. But you know what? People get injured. It's not a big deal. Injuries happen. We can't complain about it. And maybe we as Manchester United should look into players' injury records when you buy them. Because I don't think we do. Yes, I probably would have bought Varane anyway. But then he did have a bit of a horrible injury record, And it's something we've never really focused on, which is important. How can you not focus on how his injury record has been? Because you pay big bucks for him, but then you can't really use that asset to its fullest if he keeps getting injured. So it's interesting why we don't look at these little things, But yeah, hopefully these two are back. Hopefully Varane is back soon. And yeah, it is what it is. This is Megalov. Megalov we'll have to deal with in the next few weeks. And then the next question will be about Watford. What can we expect from Watford? And all I would say, of course, we know that the poor run of form, we know that with a poor run of form, we've put ourselves under pressure. But that pressure should be a joy. And oh my God, who is this old man running our club? What world are Ole Gunnar Solskjaer live in, where pressure from losing games should be a joy? What world is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer live in, where players walk in on Monday, they took a thumping the week before to Liverpool, but like, hey, it's all okay. We took a thump to Liverpool, but we're under pressure, so that's all great. There's no worry, and the sky's pink and there's rainbows all the time. That's the world Ole Gunnar Solskjaer clearly lives in. Because yes, there's an element of truth to what he's saying, but you don't say that. You don't say it. You don't come out and say, we lost, but it's good because we're under pressure. And that should be a joy. No. Standards, again. Standards. A Manchester United manager doesn't say this. Tuchel will never. He'd rather die than say this. I know, I sound like I'm exaggerating, but Tuchel seems like that kind of character where, he's that intense, all or nothing. And that's the manager we need that's the type of manager we need from Manchester United. And Tuchel, Pep, they'll rather die before saying something so idiotic. The pressure we should relish. It should be a joy. No. What Pep would say, it's my fault. He loves saying that. It's my fault. I haven't done well. And it will improve. And Pep can say it's my fault. Probably one of the best managers in our era can say it's my fault. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer keeps saying fine margins. And that just says everything. That just says everything. Pep is so good, but he still puts pressure on himself. And our manager can't even accept that he's playing the wrong players in the midfield. Yeah, I'll just end it there. Honestly. The next question will be about Jesse's future. What's going on with Jesse, his contract, yada, yada, yada. And he would say, Jesse is training really hard, really well. He's ready and available for me. Disappointed he's not playing more. In regards to contract situation and talks, I've been in them very closely. For me, Jesse is still a big part of the squad and important, and he gives quality to the group of players. Basically saying Jesse's an important player. He's followed the contract talks, but if I remember correctly, he said that he's followed them, but not really. That's not his job, and people are working on that. And he said that Jesse's an important part of the squad. And he also went on to say, you know what, you can't play every player. Then players will be unhappy at a club like Manchester United. And as much as that's true, Ole, you say that when you give people a fair chance. Donny van de Beek. And he said this about Donny van de Beek time and time again. Again, regurgitated BS. He said this about Donny van de Beek time and time again about how he can't play every player and they must take the opportunity when they get it. He gives Donny 5 minutes. He gives Jesse 5 minutes. He gives Sancho 5 minutes. They grab that opportunity, like nobody's business, but they don't play. So you can't then use this as an excuse, say, I can't play everyone, and it just depends on who's on form and all of that, You have to give them the opportunity, and it has to be that the competition is so great, the quality is so great, that even if they're so good, they just can't get in because the person above them is even better. So, yeah. You know what? So of this whole press conference with Ole, what I've come to realize, the biggest problem is the lack of standard. It just comes down to that. He does not understand that he needs to be obsessed. He needs to be on some other level of detail if you're going to manage Manchester United, And he says he admires Pep, but I'm not going to say I want a manager to be like a Man City manager, but he's nothing like Pep. Pep is worlds apart, Pep cares about the details to such an extent that it's unbelievable. Ole is just vibes. We're happy. Training's happy. We did some cool rondos, some shooting drills, 5-a-side. You know what? I'm going to play Watford. Ronaldo score a screamer. You know what? I'm going to go with my family. I'm going to have a braai. And I'm going to go and manage Manchester United on Monday. And that's just not the level. And yeah, it is what it is. You know what? We can keep crying, keep complaining, but it's not going to help anything. We need to somehow try and make a unified effort as fans, which we haven't done to this point. We did it with the whole Super League protest, but not consistently. But besides that, there's nothing we can do because they own this club. So yeah, besides us trying to do something unified, we should just try and enjoy what we can. Enjoy that Ronaldo is back at the club. Enjoy that, he scores late-minute goals left, right, and centre. Enjoy what Rashford does. Enjoy that Manchester United is Manchester United. And hopefully come next season, we get a new manager. And that's just, I feel I am at the moment. And I can imagine where most fans are. But yeah, that's been his press conference reaction. Or my reaction to his press conference. And yeah, it's gonna be a game. It'll be an interesting game. It's gonna be a game that we'll probably win, but it won't mean anything. And yeah, we'll see you guys after the game. We will react to it on the RDA. Me, Shani, Clayton, and we'll have our thoughts. And I'm not gonna say I hope we lose because he's not gonna get fired. So I think let's just win. Let's just win. At least that way, the higher we finish the season, it'll make better for the next manager because he'll be inheriting a team in a better position. But yeah, that's been the press comment reaction. Please like and subscribe if you like the content. And yeah, I'll check you next time.